Warm greetings from the High 10. It's Everyday Shenanigans. Thanks for joining me. Hope you all had a safe weekend. It's a start to a new week, starting tomorrow. Please be safe on your journey. Tonight's topic is pertaining to the poly lifestyle. Some of you may be familiar with this lifestyle. Some of you may not be. Some of you may indulge in this lifestyle, condone this lifestyle. In this segment on Everyday Shenanigans, we will discuss the lifestyle, the ramifications for indulging in this lifestyle. You're entitled to agree, disagree. After the audio plays pertaining to the information, I will drop the link in the chat. It will start with a HTTPS with letters following. Please feel free to hit the link to give your personal opinion on the subject matter. You are entitled to show yourself or not show yourself. Please do not use your government name when you hit the link. And please have a quiet background in order to give your said commentary as so everyone can hear you clearly when you speak. Thank you for joining me. This information I'm bringing to you is from the Roku channel. It is a documentary titled Poly, P-O-L-Y. And I'm going to play you a little bit of that commentary, give you a little bit of background, and we will go from there. Thank you for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this great network, Everyday Shenanigans, $ Big Angie, 129 Cash App. All stickers and chats are welcome during my live streams. There are 19 million Americans currently in some form of consensual, non-monogamous relationship. Are you that person listening to this live? Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans.
We kind of have this default with monogamy, and that is presented as the only option for many people.
Once you're married, there's just one person, and any of the thoughts are bad.
All relationships are agreements.
43% of millennials say their ideal relationship is non-monogamous. Is that true? 43% of millennials. Interesting.
It's not like polyamory is new as of the last 2 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Perks of having a boyfriend and a girlfriend.
I have 2 partners that I have love for. There's no shame in what we're doing.
Her, then her, and I'm just in the middle here.
On average, 1 out of 5 people have engaged in some form of consensual non-monogamy at some point during their life. And to help put that into perspective, that's as common as how many people own a cat in the US.
Blair and Drew.
Founders of our religion were non-monogamous. The founders of our religion were non-monogamous. I often joke with my friends, look, I've slept with less women than the founders of our church, so let's just leave it at that. I live in Provo, Utah with my family, and I'm an activist, philosopher, writer, and poet. Most of my work is in the LGBTQ community, the non-monogamous community, and the polygamous community. And being that I live in Provo, Utah means that it's all wrapped up in Mormonism. All right, I'll be right back. From a young age, non-monogamy was already entered into my vocabulary because I grew up Mormon and my ancestors were polygamous. Living in Provo, Utah, and being Mormon means that you can be subject to ecclesiastical disciplining. So I'm out and open as being bisexual, which isn't a problem with my church community so long as you don't act on it. If I were to tell people about the relationships I've had with other people, I risk having that relationship being manipulated and twisted into something ugly. And I don't want people to touch that memory. Like that's my relationship, that's my memory, that's something special to me. And you don't get to come touch that.
Do you want to paint for a little bit?
Yeah.
for our family, I keep everything very ambiguous, and I keep it ambiguous for a reason, because it can literally get me removed from my religious community and my church and my organization. It can affect my husband's job. It can affect my husband's work. And so my ambiguity and how I engage in non-monogamy is very strategic, and it's done for a reason. Okay, so when we're talking about polygamy, polygyny, polyandry, and polygamy, start over. I'm like, there's too many P's. Polygyny is one man married to multiple women. When you talk about polyandry, you're talking about one woman married to multiple men. Then you have polygamy, and polygamy is any combination of those things. It can be a woman married to two men and one man married to two other women. Gender kind of becomes irrelevant. And then polyamory is just many loves, multiple people you love and loving committed relationships. So my husband and I, we just say non-monogamous because that's just easier.
Consensual non-monogamy is a type of relationship where people have decided that they cannot or they will not live up to the ideals of monogamy. And so they have open agreements. These are consenting agreements among adults to have multiple romantic and or sexual partnerships.
Carly, Paulo, and Cassandra. Know that the first lady speaking, Miss Britt, is a Caucasian female. She has a child. Now, here is the second set of persons living this lifestyle. 3 people. Thank you for joining me.
So for those that wonder how 3 people in a throuple cuddle, here's how it goes.
Like this.
Just the 3 of us. Just the 3 of us.
You're watching your boy
Bossy Q.
and your girl Cassandra Lee.
And Carly.
And together we are the
Trifecta. Let's go.
I can't remember if it was you or you that came up with the name, but it was one of you. It was originally just our group chat name for texting.
What's up, Trifecta Troops? What's up? What's up? What's up, Trifecta Troops?
We create content that's just opening up about the questions that people have and the challenges about polyamory and how we navigate certain things. We just fell in love so fast, so
It's just
effortlessly, so fast, 6 months, and I live with them.
We just reached our
1 year anniversary. The whole reason why we're doing it is really because we're trying to shake off this stigma that sometimes carries with this kind of relationship, you know?
My therapist thinks I have an addiction to porn, perhaps. She thinks I should stop watching porn. And she brought that up. I got defensive. I was like, Jenny, I don't even watch it that often. And she was like, well, could you turn the volume down when you're here? Do you live here?
I live here with you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is my wife and roommate. We've been married coming up on 3 years.
Yeah.
In 1 month, we'll be married 3 years.
This is Patrick and Ross. Ross is a female. Ross has a husband and a boyfriend. She is also 4 months pregnant. My. Who's the daddy? Thank you for joining me.
I found out I was pregnant mid-September. I think it was mid-September.
I wish you guys could meet her. My wife's so tall and lanky like I am that when she goes to bed at night and we spoon, we can't spoon. We can only spatula.
In the comedy world, they refer to me as a chuckle fucker. So I had my time.
What does that mean?
I've fucked quite a few comedians. Yeah. You have keys, hon?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, come on.
I would say our relationship is polyamorous. I don't like any of the terminology with this, any of it. Open marriage kind of works for me, but then you say that and people just assume, oh, that means we both do whatever we want.
After the first threesome we had she left and we high-fived and went and got pizza and sat on the couch and that was so cool.
You know, I think both of our situationships work for each other.
Yeah.
And how we talk about them to each other works. But that took a lot of work.
Nellie and Portia and Jay. 3 African-American females. 2 will be considered studs, 1
Anyway.
feminine. Thank you.
I can't deal with it. Our relationship is definitely categorized as a B because I'm pretty much the hinge. So it's me, and I'm married to Nelly, of course, but I'm also married to Jay. But Jay and Nelly are not married to each other.
Portia, Jay, and Nelly are polygamous. Plural marriage is not currently recognized in the United States. As the female said, the 2 that will be considered more masculine, those 2 are not married, but the feminine female is married to one of the other partners. Thank you for joining me.
I call them relationship constellations, right? So there's different formations that different polyamorous people can have. So there's like the B or W, or you have this partner and this person has this partner and that partner.
These 2, they're sisters, they're friends, they're family, but they're not romantically involved in any way. I want people to understand when it comes down to polygamy, it's not just something so foreign. It's not something gross or hateful or deceiving or legal cheating or whatever all these people are saying. It's just a normal relationship, a normal way of life, and it's just different from yours or hers or his.
We were in this and we were like, well, what happens when this happens? You know?
Yeah, we were
No rule book, no nothing.
Some people just want to pursue those relationships because it makes them happy and they're honest about it. And it's like, oh, what a novel
You
idea.
can't be happy and honest and
What?
poly, please.
It's like, yeah, actually can work.
Just go have an affair like a normal
Yeah, I know. Mic check, test, 1, 2. I cheated on Ross. I secretly went and sought out other sexual experiences without including her.
I was very upset initially, but it was what needed to happen to kind of like push us into the deep end of like facing some of this stuff. So he went to this dominatrix, and he'll tell you more about that.
I sort of saved the day by cheating on my wife.
Oh, I was like, you mean I can go sleep with other people now? Great.
All right, everybody. Brief intermission.
COVID-19. Some people get it.
Sorry about that. Thank you all so much for joining me. Julie says, not for me. Fonda says, not for me, but to each their own. I've watched programs about this. Yes, I have posted said poly relationships on my community board. Please check out the content at your own discretion, or if you're not your taste, that's fine. It's just to give you a synopsis of people giving their testimony pertaining to that type of lifestyle. Thank you so much for joining me. This is the topic for this evening. This is live number 2. Please go in the library to check out my live earlier pertaining to body odor. Would you tell someone that they smell? Stranger or someone closer to you? Is it easier to tell someone closer to you that they smell or stranger? It's up to you. That was live number 1. Live number 2 is currently in motion. The poly lifestyle. Is it the new norm? 43% of millennials engage in this lifestyle. Thank you all so much for joining me.
I made a comment about how I would love to know what it would feel like for that lady to sit on my face. And Ross said,
Sorry about
what are you
that.
gonna do? Don't ask, don't tell. And of course, that just became this like golden ticket in my mind. I'm like, oh, she told me we're in a don't ask, don't tell relationship.
Let me repeat a little bit of what he just said. It's kind of crazy.
We were walking around, we saw this sexy postal worker. I made a comment about how I would love to know what it would feel like for that lady to sit on my face. And Ross said, do what you gotta do. Don't ask, don't tell. And of course, that just became this like golden ticket in my mind. I'm like, oh, she told me we're in a don't ask, don't tell relationship.
I honestly don't even remember this interaction. In my mind, I never gave him permission to cheat. Eventually, over the course of us having this conversation about what he had done, I got very upset and very angry, but it was more just about
that he was able to do that without seeming like he was keeping something from me for weeks, because I really thought that like I knew him better than that. It turns out he's a real sociopath. I mean, look at him.
About 30 to 40% of any long-term relationship is likely to see at least one instance of infidelity. So one way to avoid that could be to have open agreements.
I was checking out Craigslist sex ads to get turned on, and that's where I found these ads from a dominatrix, and I thought I should go have this experience. I went twice by the time I told her that I had done it, and even then, when I came clean about it, I withheld certain information.
I was kind of thinking like the most innocent version, like when you just like get beat up a little bit, like what was it? And then it was like once I found out that there was like some form of penetration, there was something in me that it was like penetration was, I couldn't handle it. I was sad and angry that like he didn't feel like he could talk to me about any of it, especially because he knows that I'm like a queer sex positive person that is like open to these things. But within a couple days, honestly, I was able to see that it kind of had nothing to do with me or us. This is about a specific sexual thing that he wants to investigate. And I can understand that, you know, you go about it great. Imagine what it would be like in a marriage for someone who is thinking about having an affair to be able to actually go to their partner and say, you know what, I've developed feelings for someone else, and I want to talk to you about what to do with these feelings in the way that you feel comfortable with, that I feel comfortable with, and what they feel comfortable with. You know, I remember the first time that happened with us. Like, I thought I was gonna die. I was so anxious. I was sweating. I thought this will be the thing that breaks our marriage. I remember just like looking down, and I like couldn't even make eye contact with him when I said it. And I was like, I've developed feelings for someone else. And the words just kind of like hung in the air. And I was just like waiting for the backlash. And I remember saying to him, it's okay if you're mad, if you want to storm out, whatever you're feeling, that's totally okay. And he didn't have any of the reactions that like you're expected to have. Instead, it was love, compassion, and understanding.
Yeah, I mean, basically I was awesome, so.
He was.
She wasn't saying, as I hope and still think, like, I don't want you anymore. It's, I want you, but I also want this. I want to add to it.
Me and Ellie, we were together first. We've been, it's 5 years for us. She was doing her show Pandora's Box.
Pandora's Box is the website she has.
Not that special. I was never a true believer in love at first sight, but I think she did something to me with her eyes, and I just couldn't get off my brain. Maybe it's like a numbers thing. Maybe if you try a bunch of them, then there's got to be some type of winner in the mix.
You know, I watched a couple of seasons. I don't like a lot of YouTube shows because they don't have the actors, but hers had the actors, so I watched it. And one of the episodes at the end, it showed like the social media of all the cast, and then I looked her up.
So you stopped her.
So you stopped me.
Wow.
I wouldn't say I stopped you. I just looked you up. And, you know, I saw your Facebook page. One day she posted a picture. I went. I did a little stalk and I scrolled through her page. I'm like, oh, I think she's single again. So I wrote her a message. I did.
And you know, the rest is history.
Wow. Interesting.
In and out of so-called being single, but it was more so of me and Ellie figuring out whether we were going to do open relationship or figure out what a name was for what we was trying to figure out. I don't know, I guess it felt like we were already in a polygamous relationship because we were all living together and they're both representing, and I wasn't committed to either one just yet because, you know, neither one of them had, I guess, shown me that it was the right time for us to even be in a relationship.
Giving each other permission to have other kinds of sexual experiences with other people, it did help our.
This is Ross and
sex
Patrick
life.
speaking.
With both of them showing me their efforts and courting me and everything, then it was like, it kind of felt like we were already doing it.
Back to
We
Portia.
put a name to it and it became a thing. Pop some cheese on it and put it in a broiler.
What's the point of cheating, right? Like, what's the point of cheating? You're going to get caught, you're going to get in trouble. Why don't we work on this thing or be non-monogamous or be polyamorous so we don't have to cheat? Let's work on a new kind of relationship formation that works for the both of us.
All right, everybody. Take a brief intermission. How are y'all feeling about the information that you're hearing? It's very interesting. You can check out this content on YouTube.
So
Roku
I
as
was
well.
born in the womb, right? And my family goes back literally to the birth of Mormonism in 1830. My ancestors were polygamous and were persecuted for it, went to jail for it, died for it.
We have pictures of our ancestors, our polygamous ancestors, in prison over the controversy of polygamy. Like, it literally was a source of contention to where the government came in and seized Mormon land, Mormon property, things like that, saying you can't practice polygamy anymore.
Fast forward, when I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and by that time, Mormons or the LDS Church had disavowed polygamy. But wink, wink, hey, 4.5 times a wife, the next life.
In this episode here, this is episode 3, Celestial Marriage. Blair, I think I called her Britt by mistake. Caucasian female, obviously married. You heard her husband just speaking. There are children involved in this scenario. You hear children in the background. Sitting on the sofa is a girl child with a Minnie Mouse stuffed animal about the same size as she. How will this affect their children? Is this a good example for children, people raising children, whether they're newborns, infants, toddlers, or school age? Thank you for joining me.
When we talk about the history of polygamy within the Mormon context, we can't paint that with one broad stroke. Some people try to come in and say it was this divine thing ordained of God and everybody did it all happily and it was all great. And there are other people who want to come in and tell a narrative that says it was this horrible, oppressive, misogynistic practice and women had no rights and da-da-da. And the reality is both were true and it was all mixed up in a big mess of things.
Celestial marriage. In the 19th century, the term celestial marriage usually referred to the practice of plural marriage.
So at some point in some heavenly eternities, I was going to be sharing my husband with another woman, and that's how it was going to be. And the strangest part is when I was a teenager, that never bothered me. It bothered all the other girls, but it didn't bother me. I didn't realize why. It was because I was bi. And so here I am, this bisexual Mormon girl, thinking that she's going to somehow share her husband with other girls. And I'm like, how is this not the best? Like, why are all girls into this? Being a woman in a Mormon community, it usually is wrapped up in, are you fulfilling your responsibilities as a mother? Would a mother do that thing that you're doing? And it's like, I don't know, my kids are doing really well and they're really happy and they're really healthy, so I don't think what we're doing is that bad. I haven't received a lot of negative feedback for non-monogamy, specifically because I do keep that private. The negative feedback I do get is just by being openly bisexual. I get more negative feedback from that, and it's usually surrounded around, oh, her poor kids, oh, the poor family, oh, da, 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 oh, her poor husband. And I'm like, trust me, he's fine. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has distanced themselves from polygamy in such a harsh way that if one of their members is to be polygamous or be non-monogamous in that capacity, they could be subject to what's called excommunication, which is the highest form of discipline that you can get in our community. Depending on what your crime is, it's almost like a shunning process. It's crazy. They grow up so fast. When you talk to a modern day Mormon about polygamy, like it's almost like they don't even know how to talk to it about it and approach it, because it's both this source of like fear for letting the floodgates open to Sodom and Gomorrah, but at the same time, oh, but this is the holiest order of marriage and we're all going to be living it someday if you want to reach the highest degree of celestial glory. And so it's like, you know what? This is just too complicated and too weird. We're just not going to talk about it. We're going to smile and be polite. And guess what? Poster children for heterosexual monogamy. Aren't we just upstanding citizens? There's no shame in what we're doing. We just live in a community right now that really just doesn't get it. And so we have to balance this idea of privacy and legitimacy.
What's up, trifecta troops? Because of the internet, I think people are a lot more open-minded and people are finding the answers that fit well with their lifestyle.
Don't forget to subscribe.
All of this now opens people up, opens their minds up, because now they're receiving different information, unfiltered information. So I think people are definitely ready for it. I think the internet has made it possible for that.
Are you out to your families?
Yeah.
You're out online?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're out to our families.
Yeah.
What is the sort of range of responses?
Yeah, coming out to our families is probably the hardest thing to do.
That was 3 young people, Hispanic throuple, as they would call them. Some of you are going to question, how does it all work? Are all the people sleeping together, having sex together? Not in every relationship. As you heard with this young couple, throuple, 2 females, 1 male. It does not necessarily mean that both females are engaging in sexual activity with one another. Thank you all so much for joining me. Brief intermission. You can find this on the Roku channel if you're interested in its content.
Watching shows, because it feels like every single show is literally, oh no, we all have to watch it. And I was like, can we watch this one? No, we cannot, because we already. I was like, what about this one? No, we cannot. I was like, okay.
What's up, trifecta true?
We were married about 6 years prior to meeting, right? 6 years. Yeah. We moved to LA and we went to a Dominicans in Cali night, which is, there's not a lot of Dominicans in California.
We get inside Dominicans in Cali and we walk all the way to the back of the bar, and the first person we meet is me. I go to him, I'm like, what was she saying? And then he's like, yo, she was just like, your wife is so sexy. Oh my God, your wife is so sexy. Your wife is so sexy. So we are gonna prank Pal.
Check it. Here's what's happening. So Pal,
He does not want a dog.
at all, what we're going to do is we're going to borrow a dog. Not just any dog. What kind of dog?
A bull mastiff.
A bull mastiff.
No big deal.
No big deal.
No big deal.
Let's see how he reacts.
Social media is guiding our lives. Yeah, I think things are changing because now people are being exposed more.
Romeo is settling in.
The reason why we decided to throw in some pranks and more of the fun things is because we also just wanted to showcase that we are normal people. Hello.
We're
We
coming
got
for
you.
You guys dog sitting or something?
No, we adopted him.
Adopted him?
Yes, we adopted him.
No.
Come here, Romeo. Okay, look, just touch him. He's not our dog. It was a prank.
Oh my God, are you serious?
In terms of finding that degree of intimate romance and sexual chemistry with 3 people might not be as common as maybe V structures.
Oh my God, next thing, got some beans, got some triangles.
Let me go back to that conversation.
Romance and sexual
Something I
chemistry
want to read to you
with
guys.
people might not be as common as maybe V structures.
V structure. A polydynamic where one person is in a relationship with 2 people who are not romantically involved with each other. That is the said situation with the black female and the other two black females. The feminine female is married to one of them, but the one she's married to does not allegedly engage in sexual activity with the other female, which in street terms, these two females will be considered studs, the masculine of the two. Once again, a polydynamic is where one person is in a relationship with two people who are not romantically involved with each other. And you will hear the different testimonies that it may be two people, three people involved, but two of the people in the relationship do not engage in any type of sexual relationship. Thank you for joining me.
I'm like, next thing, got some games, got some time. If we want to go on a date, yeah, we can go out as a family, all of us, all three of us, we can go out just as teammates, as partners. But when we're going out, we're not just all three holding hands. We're not just all three, being sexually involved. It's separate. Everything is separate as far as when it comes down to the romantic aspect. So when we want to have private time, quiet time, me and her time, then it's just us two. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with her. We have schedules, so everyone has their own room. Everyone has their own personal space, their own getaway, their own area. They rotate. They have 2 nights a week each to be able to spend the night in my room. So right now it is 4 nights that is occupied.
Wow.
3 nights to myself.
Ooh, Lordy, what a mess.
It's really hard to find good friends in life, let alone romantic partners or sexual partners.
I have been waiting for you. I've been waiting for you guys. And I finally found you. So you know what that means?
We're going on a Ferris
We're going on a Ferris wheel.
The reason why we kind of decided to, start going public with it was, again, we didn't really have answers.
Her question is about couples privilege. Does it come up for you? If so, how do you work through it and work through it individually?
Let's be honest, did we all know what couples privilege was?
No, we had to Google it.
The advantage that an established couple has over a new member of the relationship.
We started talking about kids. And if we want kids and what we want to do and all these things, I said, well, I think it's only fair that I should. I want firstborn.
We really do get real and we get raw
Yeah.
about the things that are uncomfortable to talk about.
It would feel so hard if you had the firstborn.
Why?
Because it's almost like everything that you and I have been through in our past, when we fought through these crazy moments that no matter how many times we share these stories, you weren't there.
You're getting a little comfortable?
You weren't there, and that's unfair to you, and it's the reality of it though. It's like we can't change that, but we were there, and in those moments, all we kept thinking about was like, this is for our future. We would always talk about like our first child and how that would feel, and it's like, we didn't see this happening, and it happened. And now we are in love with this beautiful person right here, Carly. Like, I don't want to be put in a position where I have to choose her pain or my pain, and that's what couples privilege technically puts you in a position for.
Sure.
Yeah. It sucks that that's the reality because it's unfair. It is.
It's unfair.
It is unfair, but it's not like, it is. It really is just, that's what
Unless you guys both get pregnant at the same time.
You should be going crazy. I don't know if you can even handle 2 pregnant ladies.
Like this video, you think I can
Adding another person to our marriage has definitely brought about challenges and problems that I never even thought existed. I think what was an eye-opener was when we told his mom, my mother-in-law, and she said something about the future she envisioned with like grandkids and stuff. Like that changed, and I didn't put that into consideration.
Woo! Wow. A lot of information to dissect. I'm going to stop it here so I can go ahead and discuss this with you guys. We have a lot of episodes because I want to go ahead and let some people get on the panel to give their opinion, because this can get winded with playing all the commentary. Thank you all so much for joining me. If you'd like to donate to the channel, $Big Angie 129 Cash App. All stickers and chats are welcome during this live. Thank you for your time. 1 minute while I get situated here. Thank you all so much. Woo, mercy. What do you think about what you listened to? Different couples were giving their testimonies pertaining to how they met, how they're living. One couple, Caucasian couple, have a child, have three children. The ones that belong to the Mormon church, or were belonging to the church, she's openly bisexual. So there wasn't a third party living in her house per se, but she's attracted to women. How do you all feel about that said information? Sorry, trying to get it together here. Then you have the black throuple. 2 young black females and a feminine black female, explaining how they divide their time up with one another. But the other 2 masculine females, they don't engage in activities with one another. They engage in activities alone with Portia. If you were listening to that content. It's a lot to dissect. I'm going to try to be quick by chopping up this information. So, the throuple that were the black couple, the 3 black females, one chased her down through social media. One thing led to another. Very interesting. Some will say, is that safe? But as I tell people, you don't know people anyway to dissect which is safe or not. But this is a relationship of 3 parties. 1 feminine female and 2 males. And the 2 masculine females do not engage in relationships with one another. They separate their time. She also has a child, a boy child. The question came up of being honest. How honest can you be? Because you heard content from one of the couples pertaining to finding out that her husband had cheated on her, went to a dominatrix. So what was the dominatrix giving him, Patrick, that Ross, the female, her name was Ross, she couldn't give the husband. Okay? The one relationship with Blair, female, bisexual female, who's married, she admitted she got feelings for someone else, and the husband didn't get upset. Also asked in this commentary, what's the point in cheating? When you can just have this open dialogue and I guess this open relationship, but that's the point. All parties would have to sign up for it. What if they're not interested? What if they thought, well, I didn't know you were into that? What would make you want that? Maybe you should have told me that in the beginning. I could have found me somebody else. It's a good question. Blair has 3 kids, as I said, openly bi. She keeps certain things private that she doesn't want the public to know, but she did say she's openly bisexual. She doesn't worry about it affecting her husband's job, and that's a good question. When people see this documentary, how will it affect her children, children's friends, schoolmates, the staff at the school, the community where you live, your neighbors, your work? Maybe she's not thinking about that. You may not be openly showing yourself kissing another woman and married, but you did just do a documentary and people do watch the internet. Portia's son, how's that affecting her son, the African-American female with the 2 lovers that live with her? Does she even consider what it's like to be walking around kissing 2 different women, having affection for 2 different women in her house, and also has a boy child being raised in her house? Has she thoroughly thought this through? Very good question. Ross and Patrick. Ross is the female. She said she was 4 months pregnant. Guess when she found out he was out slumming around. And Patrick says he doesn't like terminologies. They did have a girl living with them at one time, a woman, but she left and they said high five each other and got pizza. My thing is, why did she leave? What happened? Is it an issue of perhaps that these women who go in on these couples and they get invited to live with these people, is it the fact that the woman's just attracted to the man, she likes him, she really don't want to be with the woman, she wants the man. And she sees a window of opportunity to slide in and try to stake her claim. Could that be? I've heard a story recently of that. All three slumber with one another, but in the end, the outsider, female, really wanted the man to herself. It's a lot of questions. Patrick cheated on her. He made a comment about some random woman, some postal worker. They said, "What her out?" He made the comment, "I just like to know what it would feel like to have her sit on my face." What is that to say to a female you're married to? That's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. That sounds like something a guy would say to another guy or keep to himself. I want to know what it would be like for her to sit on my face. So she said, well, it's the don't ask, don't tell rule. Go do what you got to do. Just don't talk about it. But in the end, their relationship was affected once she found out he went to see a dominatrix. They had sex. She makes this claim in this audio that once she realized he penetrated her, all bets were off. Okay, she's got feelings. She's jealous. But of course, because that's the whole thing about assuming something. You may assume in the beginning you're not going to care. It's not going to bother you until the deed is done. And then, too, he was sneaking around, wasn't really honest, was not honest. So she found out. I guess he told it. See, I feel like you're opening Pandora's box. Whether you are bisexual, openly bi, you allow other parties to live in your house, you all are sharing beds, taking turns, two don't mess with one, two don't mess with the other, however it goes. It's a recipe for disaster because you have to count the obvious. Somebody's going to get more feeling than the other feelings. Somebody's going to want more time. And as you heard Portia talking about 2 days with one party, 2 days with the other female. What about when one female wants more than just the 2 days? They want to cuddle with you while you're cuddling with the other one. They want to take you out to eat or go to the movies or take you to a function, but you've got me time with this one. Where does your child fit in with this me time? Because you're now talking about having another party living in your house that you're engaging with. So where's the free time, mommy time with your son? And what about if she had more children? You have to think about that. Imagine if Portia had more children and she's now got 2 women in her house. Stay woke, everybody. Stay woke. Ross and Patrick, this is a Caucasian couple, man and woman, married. She says, Patrick said he felt like his wife gave him permission. Ross gave him permission, but she says, no, I didn't. I don't remember giving him permission. It's a very interesting commentary. See, they had secrets. She also said he's a real sociopath. He possibly is. Possibly a narcissist. You hear this psychologist speaking also during this commentary about open arrangements. Possibly this could keep down affairs. I think it was a psychologist or it was the other black female that was speaking. The point is, why should a person sign up for something they really don't want? Let's just say the female or man don't want another participant in their house or in a relationship with their partner, wife, whatever. You know that they like sex with other people, attention by other people, then that means possibly you're with the wrong person. Could that be the gist of the story? Hey, I chose the wrong guy, girl. They still got their feet, arms, legs in the streets. They want to touch, fondle, have sexual relations with other people. And that's what I see. Because there are a lot of men like that. They just like women, love women. They've got to sleep with every woman they see. As I've told you the story of a certain person I know that always wants the company of a woman, don't care who she is, where she comes from, but legally married to somebody. That tells me that you need to be single. And that way you can sleep, slumber, do menage a trois at will, let everybody know what's up. You don't want to be monogamous and just have a free fall. But there's ramifications with the free fall. As I've said, somebody's going to eventually get hurt because somebody's going to want more time. Someone is going to eventually possibly want to be monogamous. Okay, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to play this game anymore. I don't want to do any more sharing. I just want you to myself. But that party still wants to, as I said, keep his or her feet in the street. How's that going to work? As I told you, Patrick went to a dominatrix, and Ross, the female, Said it bothered her knowing he had sex with her. She couldn't handle it. But she said, oh, I realized it didn't have anything to do with me or us. The way he went about it wasn't great. Yeah, because he snuck around Ross and cheated on you. That's why it wasn't great. What are the issues pertaining to this throuple, trifecta, openly gay woman married? What are the ramifications? How about that? See, everybody's getting what they want, possibly. But in the end, as I said, people are entitled to change his or her mind, and that's where your problems are going to come in. And then eventually they're going to start going out finding people on their own, and you're not involved. That's what Patrick did. He started sneaking out, picking up women, not engaging that woman with his wife. See, that's opening Pandora's box. A lot of people don't realize that. If you have an open relationship, whether you let the party live with you or not, it is a recipe for disaster. Because you have to have a strong mind to knowingly know your man or woman is out there sleeping with somebody else, picking them up and engaging with them, talking to them, spending time with them. You're not affected. Well, why not just date then? Just openly date. You see who you want, I see who I want. We don't live together. We don't pay bills together. We don't have no damn children together. Ramifications, as I said, jealousy, spending time together, allotting time. How do these people's parents feel? As one woman was speaking, she thought, possibly bother her mother, having children, rearing children. How's that going to work? You're rearing children with a man, but then there's another woman in on this package deal as well. Allotting time with your friends and family. Do you invite the other party along for bar mitzvah, Thanksgiving? You all see where I'm going? Christmas, picnics. Do we invite the other party too? How do you spend time between holidays? Bingo card. How is everybody spending time together? Special moments together. What about if they decide to ask one of the other parties to leave? How's that going to work? What if one decides to leave? But you heard with Patrick and Ross, a woman was involved with them and she left and they celebrated having pizza. So obviously there was no real feelings for the female. What about the children? Because you got to remember, when you're showing same-sex relationships, you are introducing your child to homosexuality and bisexuality. Maybe perhaps if you weren't living that way, they wouldn't know anything about it. Stay woke now. Dr. Phil always says, your identity is formed as a child. So everything that you're introduced to is a part of you. So is it fair to introduce extra parties into a relationship, household, and you have children? Excuse me. Public scrutiny, people finding out about you, posting it to social media, TikTok, Facebook, your job finding out, your church finding out, the community, your neighbors. What if they start putting up signs, saying things, passing out flyers? See, people don't think about stuff like that. Because a lot of people like to say, oh, I'm an open book. Well, are you really an open book? Because you wouldn't be an open book if it starts to affect your pocketbook. Somebody calls you one day and say, we need you to come in. We need to have a talk with you. Oh, we got this information about you. You've got this open relationship. You've got this extra guy, gal living in your house. And it's not really, you're not really the type of person we want working for us and representing our company, product, blah, blah, blah. How about that? Finances. Everybody putting their money in one pot, buying food, groceries, gas bill, light bill. How does that work out in the end? What if one's doing most of the paying? Two are not carrying their weight, don't make as much money. That may affect the relationship down the road. Somebody don't want to spend that much money on items, food, groceries, travel. How about that? What about when they go out of town to travel? So you have to ask all the pertinent questions. This can go on and on. One wants to take one on a trip. One might want to go, but the other one wasn't invited. Who keeps the child and children? Bingo card. While two decide they want to go to Puerto Rico, let's say. The other one stays behind. Does that person stay behind to keep the child? What if they didn't want to keep the child? And that's another thing. Are all these people getting along with the person's children, child? It's one thing to try to get along with one person that your mother, father is dating, married to. Now you got another person sleeping in a house, and that child's got to now try to, or children, network with that other person. So instead of a child networking with one man, one woman, they're now trying to navigate liking 2 extra people in the house. Outside family members, friends visiting, spending time with them. The party's going away to other friends and family. How would all that work with all these people tangled up together in a house? The throuple, 3 people living together. And if you notice, the ones that were living together as threes, they were young. One Hispanic couple, Dominican couple, throuple, the trifecta love, and then the African-American females that live together. Meddling relatives. It's another thing. People coming over to the house. See, people don't think about that when they're living together. When you join with people, you're also involved with their family to some degree. So what about that? When people want to come in town, visit, spend the night. Do you have room? Do you want to have room? Do you want to entertain extra guests? What if a person decides they want to bring in another party, make it a quadruple party? Well, I can. I pay rent. I live here. I like her. I like him. You know, the one thing I found interesting about homosexuality as far as men and women on each side of the coin, I find it interesting, such as this 3-party with the black people. The black girl is feminine. The 2 other ones are masculine. But yet she's attracted to a female that looks like a guy. That's strange to me. Because you would think if a woman was attracted to a woman, she would be more attracted to a feminine woman. Especially she's feminine when you like another pretty girl. Just curious. Same thing with a guy. I noticed that one night I was out. The guy was buff, masculine, and he was sitting here with the transgendered female. But underneath his clothes naturally was a boy. So it's strange to me. You're a guy, buffed up, muscles, but gay. But you would choose to be with another gay man that's dressed up looking like a female with makeup on. That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard of. I don't know. Maybe it's just my mindset. All this is strange to me. I'm going to drop the link. Feel free to hit the link. Please have a quiet background to give your commentary as so not to disrupt the flow and continuity of the live. Thank you for joining me. Ooh, Lord have mercy. This is definitely a new day that has arisen. Wow. Thank you all for joining me this Sunday night. I appreciate it. My. Awfully quiet. One second. Thank you all so much for joining me. I want to call someone that I know. She was supposed to come up, but I don't know if she's going to be able to. So we'll just ring her, see if she has anything she'd like to say. Feel free to hit the link if you want to give your opinion pertaining to this subject matter. Thank you for joining me. Cher says it's hard to, she said hard to be in that type of relationship and not have self-esteem. Yeah, some would wonder about that as well. Hey, are you awake? Yeah. Well, I'll have you on speaker. You can give your opinion. I've already played the audio pertaining to the different relationships. This is Samantha again giving her commentary. They had 3 women. One was feminine, black. 2 other would be considered masculine, studs. And she said 2 days on with one, 2 days off with another one. And she also had a boy child living in the house. Give me your opinion.
I think there's 2 too much going on in the household. For one, if it's your child, it's not going to be a stable environment. And then I feel like you need to just be with one person.
Okay.
And because it's going to eventually cause problems.
Okay.
Even if you thought it was cool to just try it.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you probably be the one that get booted because the next person wanted to do this. So
wait.
You know, that's
Say that again. Now, which one would get booted?
The girlfriend.
The feminine female, the one with the child?
Yes.
Why you say that?
Who was the one that wanted this?
I don't know. The girl, the feminine, the one that looks feminine with the long hair. She has like a website where she's talking about, certain type of behaviors or whatever. And one of the studs looked her up and they met, hooked up. And then I can't remember how the other one came about, but they're all living together, but the two studs don't sleep together. Let me make that clear. They don't interact with each other. See, a lot of people are going to think that, but she made that clear in the commentary. They don't sleep together. They divide their time up with her, the feminine one, but the two studs don't have sex. So each one has their own bedroom, their own private time. They allot 2 days a week with her, private time, uninterrupted. But as I said in this commentary, you got to factor in everything: friends, family, work, play, people visiting, meddling family members. When it's time to travel, only 2 go somewhere. Who keeps the kid? You understand what I'm saying? It's just so many questions you can ask.
Yeah, that's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot going on. And, I guess, it goes back to the biblical. You know what I'm saying? What's right, what's wrong.
Right. And that's if you believe in God.
What they want to do.
That's if you believe in God. Because one woman, she's married, a Caucasian female, and she has 3 children, but she's openly gay, bisexual. She doesn't have a woman or anybody staying in the house, so her situation is a little bit different. Her husband don't mind her going out getting a woman, but it's just them at the house with the 3 children. But my thing is, at some point, you might want to start bringing that gal around if you start growing feelings for her. You understand? Because she's saying she keeps her basically on the down low. She's keeping it out of the way.
But you married at the same time.
Well, he doesn't mind. The husband doesn't mind. That was said. You have to check it out. It's an interesting documentary.
Yeah, that is interesting, but I don't condone it. But
Okay.
everybody got their own opinion, their own ways, what they choose to do.
Yeah.
Each his own, but I feel like there's too much going on.
Yeah, I really don't agree with having children in the house. That's where I really have the problem.
One thing, because they see it and they don't understand.
Right.
And then when they pick up off of it,
Right.
how you gonna explain yourself?
Right. And that's what I was thinking about with the black girl. You got 2 different girls living in a house, both masculine looking. You all got your own separate rooms. So one day your son's looking at you, hugging, kiss on girl 1. Then the next day or later, you're kissing on girl 2. Because I know how you're going to hide your affections in your own house. Because we wouldn't expect you to. That's your house. You understand what I'm saying? So how are you explaining that to a boy child, that it's okay for you as a female to be kissing and loving and playing house with a woman, mind you, another woman? Don't you think it could affect him to start liking boys?
Yes, mentally.
Mentally,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. Finances. Who's paying for what? Who pays the most, the least? That could cause a problem. Bringing other parties into the house.
Can be a big factor.
Yes. I don't think they really think about the worst case scenario. Like one girl said, this is a couple in California. They're Dominican. It's two females and a guy. The original couple was married 6 years. But one night they went out to a bar, and I guess one of the other female flirted with the female and was making gestures toward her. Next thing you know, one thing leads to another. They're messing around, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so now all 3 are living together. The main one was saying she was worried about having children. I believe it was her. Having kids. Her mother would want, her to be settled down with a husband, having kids. How would that work? I think that would be a problem for any mother wanting to see their daughter married with and have babies.
Yeah.
How is this going to work? 2 women in the house.
Right. That's a lot.
That is a lot. That is a lot. It's very strange.
Every day you're dealing with feelings. People, if you're doing too much of this,
Yeah.
or they doing too much of that,
Yeah.
too much of your attention.
Yeah.
You know,
And I think that would be a
scenario,
problem.
You're right. You gotta deal with.
And then another couple, they were a Caucasian couple, Ross and Patrick. Ross, she's the female. Her man was sleeping around and didn't let her know. Went to see a dominatrix. He finally confessed that they did have sex. And then she has the nerve to say, well, you know, I realized whatever he was looking for, trying to get from her, it doesn't affect me and us. But I still was upset by the way he went about it. He's a real sociopath, in my opinion. See, she's joking, but she's serious. You're affected. That's why you got upset. Huh? Yeah, it bothered her. Yeah, because he could have just told her, hey, I'm attracted to other women. But, you know, he's joked about being with other women. And she just told him, well, whatever you do, don't talk about it. Don't mention it. But this is what was strange, what he said to her. He said to her one day they were out. He saw a woman he was attracted to. And he said, I'd like to know what it would feel like to have her sit on my face. What the hell?
What?
I said, that sounds like something you would say to a guy. It's not something you would say to your woman, your wife.
Right. Because she would feel some type of way, like.
Yeah. But she's condoning it, though. She's condoning it. Well, she's condoning it. Well, see, she's condoning that he mess around because they did have a girl with them at one time living in the house. So I don't know if both her and her husband were both sleeping with the woman, or it was just the other woman sleeping with her husband. But the thing that's crazy is she downplayed that when the girl left, they high-fived and went and got pizza. So I'm looking at it like, well, if you all had a woman living with you at one time, it was an open relationship, why would you get upset when you found out he was sneaking around with a dominatrix or whomever? Because she didn't have knowledge. That's why she was upset. I think you opened the box. I'm echoing on your phone. I was echoing on your phone when I speak. I think you open the Pandora's box when you do the menage a trois, the threesomes, the quadruple, whatever. Let somebody live with you. Open relationships in the house. I think you just opening the door for some drama.
Yeah, that's right. It is. It's a lot. It's y'all gonna be confused all the time. All the time.
Girl, I can't fool with you. But you know there's people that live like this anyway. When you allow your man to be out here sleeping around with different women and you know he's with her, you know they're in public, they go places together, and you allow him to come back to the house and live with you. You know that goes on. That's been going on since the beginning of time. And you've seen that, because I've seen that, and that still goes on today. You know, like I tell people, I've told a few stories here on my network. I've seen men go out in the street, be in public with a woman. Everybody knows he's married. Everybody knows he has a wife, children, but he's in public in the juke joint or the bars with this woman. They playing house in public, but then he goes home to his wife. And it's just like, damn, why would this wife allow herself to be basically an outsider in her own damn marriage? I don't know. Well, what do you feel about that?
I really feel like it's confusing to me. I don't want to be in no kind of relationship that I got to be thinking about who I'm going to be with tonight, tomorrow, whatever, what I do. And I would rather just be with one person and leave it at that. Okay. That's too complicated.
Okay.
That's a lot. That's too complicated.
Well, do you think these people that like the outside parties just have an insatiable sex drive?
Yeah, they really do. They have issues with. They have a big issue with sex drive.
Okay, really?
Because nothing's gonna please them.
Right, and I thought about that with a certain guy I know. He's married and he just can't stop. Yeah, right. And that's what I've said too. I told the guy, I said, why don't you just be single and then openly date who you want to date?
Yeah.
Tell the women you don't want a relationship. They can either jump on the train or not. That's on them. But we already know that once you have sex with a person, after 1 or 2 times, you will start to get some type of affection for them. Even if it's just sexually driven, you're attracted to them. Even if it's just that's all you're attracted to.
Right.
And we as humans get our emotions mixed up. Sometimes it ain't love, it ain't like, it's just the sex is good. And you got yourself hook, line, and sinker, chasing behind this person, wanting to be in there a peripheral, and it ain't nothing. But your mind is telling you it's something. And it ain't nothing.
Right.
And that's when people act out.
Yeah. And it's problems.
Because
their feelings get involved.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. Do you know of anybody personally that lives in open relationships like this where they have more than 2 or 3 people living in the house, 3 people living in the house together?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
No. Now, I have heard of the same sex, of course, but it's one person. I haven't never heard.
You mean like 2 men living together, 2 women living together?
Yeah.
But not bringing in a third party.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'd heard of somebody, had spun me some information recently trying to do that, as I told the chat earlier, but it didn't work out because the outside female, obviously wanted the man for herself, and it didn't work out. So all 3 were not going to be coexisting. But I thought to myself, how in the world could you even think of bringing a third party in when really you care for the man, you have a long relationship with the man, you also have a child under 18 with this man. How are you going to explain that to your child, even though your child understands that you are also, openly bisexual, but still, I just don't get down with all that. I have to each his own, but I just.
People need to think about that when they have kids.
Well, they don't. See, we're in a meat society.
They need to think about that when they have kids.
Yeah.
You can't do all that in front of them, but some and still do.
Yeah.
And messes up a kid's mind.
Yeah.
They literally mess in the mind, confused, like, what do I be with, a girl or a boy?
Yeah. And what starts out as a boy being attracted to girls, he's now looking at men because he's looking at his parents doing, different type of behaviors in the house.
Yeah. He's confused.
Wow. Well, they had that show on TV with the Sister Wives, and I haven't watched it thoroughly, but I had seen a clip. I saw a clip the other day that said something about the fall of this sister wife fiasco, and I knew that some of them women were going to eventually leave and file for divorce because it gets old. How much sharing can he get around to share his life with somebody new?
Yeah, you eventually get tired of that.
Yeah. And then you got noise. It's noise all the time. Imagine 5, 6 different women plus their children in one house. He's the father of all the damn kids. So it's nothing but noise 24 hours a day if you all lived in the same house. See, I couldn't get used to that ever.
No.
But there's people that do it.
I like my peace and quiet.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I have a very quiet life. So I couldn't imagine coming home and I'm looking at all these people making noise, kids crying, babies crying, and I might want to spend some quality time with my husband, but I can't because it's Susie's night.
Holiday.
Right. And then tomorrow, all day. Yes. So then tomorrow is Mary's night. Maybe my night don't come till Wednesday.
Yeah. Wednesday gonna be a long time coming.
Yes. And what the song says, if you think you're lonely now, wait until tonight.
Wait until 3 nights.
Yeah, wait until 3 nights. By then, we done went and found us something. Look, we done went and found us something else to play with.
To satisfy you.
Woo! Shut up, Satan. This is bad. But I'm gonna ask you something. Do you think this is gonna be the new norm? Extra parties living together, playing house?
No, I don't think that will fall too hard.
Okay. They said 43% of millennials are engaging in this behavior.
That may be engaging, but it'll get old. Okay. I think more today's world is same sex.
Yeah, same sex. Mm-hmm.
Same sex, getting married and living together as a family.
Okay.
That's the real right there.
Okay.
It ain't like back in the days, things has changed. And you got those same sex in the same household, getting married, staying together, having a family.
Well, since you opened that box, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I have no problem with that, but everybody condone itself. But you know what I'm saying? I believe from the good book, the Bible, and some others don't. Yes. And so I believe that my husband and wife to be together, but it's just my opinion. Okay. Everybody has their own opinion about what they choose and what they choose to be with to make them happy. Yeah. And we've seen that over time, and we can elaborate on this too, because it's still a part of this storyline of the poly lifestyle. The back and the forth. You have women that maybe are confused about their sexuality. They may like women. Yeah, they might start out experimenting, and then they jump up. Them people, I feel a big strong case on them. Those women need to make up their mind because that is a dangerous ball game. It is, because we've seen the fallout of that back and forth. Because it's dangerous. It is dangerous. Can really seriously get hurt. Yeah. Yeah. So be careful when you're going to this guy. Be careful when you go to the girl. Yeah. Whose feelings going to get strongly, deeply in love, and can't be with you, see you somewhere, and it can escalate to something else. Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, that's the whole point of people in general, is that people are popping off more. They don't know how to deal with their emotions. They get mad, angry, get a weapon, do things. So it doesn't matter how many sexes are involved, but it is something strange when a woman started out liking guys. Then she experiments, goes with a woman, date a woman. Then she bring in a woman in her house. God forbid she got children. Now it don't work out with the woman. She's back to the guy. My thing, that is very confusing, period, even if you don't got children. Yeah, and if you need to make up your mind who you want to be with. A girl or a guy. Not that back and forth. I'm going to come out or I'm not. Yeah. I mean, simple as that. But you got people who will say, I'm bisexual. Somebody I know will say, I'm bisexual. I like both. Maybe one day I'll be with the guy. Then if that don't work out with him, then I can go pick a woman up. And then if it don't work out with her, if I do meet another guy, then I'll be with him. Whichever one floats my boat when I meet them. And I will say to them, be careful. Okay. Be very careful. Somebody, I'm going to read you Chair's comment. She said, I believe each their own. Personally, I cannot participate in this type of relationship, but I don't think women are wired biologically to share when children come along. I think it would be so hard. What do you think about that comment? That when you have children would change it if you had children and not before children? It's something to think about when you have kids. It's something to think about. I never could imagine it. I'm telling you, when I glanced at that show back in the day, the Sister Wives, in my mind, I said, how in the world is this going to work? Feelings get really hurt with that when you want to be selfish. Well, and that's the whole point. Out to yourself all the time. But that's how it's supposed to be, because that's how God designed it, was for you to be just you and that mate. Right. That's how he designed it. And you know that's not going to make you happy. Right. And I think a lot of women, it's probably more women than men, we always seem to be the ones going along with things we don't agree with pertaining to men and their behaviors. But I think it's more women going along with inviting other women into the bedroom. You know, because most men have said they like that. Yeah, they want the two women syndrome, the sex with the extra woman. Hey, try it. You might like it. Just say you really want to experiment with some women, period. Don't just make up, well, I want to see two women have sex, or I want two women engage in sex with me. When really you just want to be out there fooling around. Yeah. Because in the end, you're going to end up doing that.
yeah, you're going to end up doing that anyway without her, without the wife, without the girlfriend. Because I've heard of that happening. The guy will ask the girl, can he bring a girl into the bedroom? They go get a girl, engage in sex. The next thing you know, he's out there having sex with the other girl without the wife or the girlfriend.
Yeah. And then your feelings hurt because you engaged in it. You
Yes.
brought it to your bedroom.
Yes.
Now he would want to be with the other one.
Yes. I just feel like it opens Pandora's box when you invite another person into your household and your bed. You're asking for trouble because you could be the one that really didn't want it, and next thing you know, your ass out. They care. Right. The man cares more for the new person, and now they don't want you around. He's sneaking around. He's spending more time out in the streets, which men will do that anyway, whether it was another woman coming in the bed or not. As I told people, I saw a story where a woman indulged the husband. They had a threesome. And next thing she knew, he was leaving out, not coming home. And then he just left her altogether. She was devastated. She was devastated.
Yeah. Because he wanted his cake and eat it too. He enjoyed it.
Right.
A whole lot.
Right. And who's to say he doesn't stop that? Let's say you leave your wife, you go move in with this chick, and then before you know it, you still back out there picking up strange women. So that leads me to think that's just what you've been wanting to do anyway.
Yeah.
It wasn't about experimenting.
But they gonna go back to saying, but you let me.
Yeah.
You told me you was okay with it.
Yeah.
It's gonna go back to you. Because you allowed it.
Right. It's just a very interesting phenomenon now, hearing of this extra parties living together, playing house. I just couldn't see myself doing it, playing house with another man and another woman. Whether I engaged in sex with a woman or not, I just can't see being in a house and he's with another person. I just can't see it.
I have to have big one-on-one, but I don't want to share. If I'm a big you.
Right. Well, I'll tell you the one thing I noticed with these couples that I just was on episode 5 that I was playing for the chat. You didn't see no damn men asking to bring another man in and had a woman as a wife.
That's funny how you say that.
There was no extra man being brought in for a man to say, yeah, I'm gay, I'm bisexual. Lord have mercy. Now that would have been real interesting. Hey, honey, I just wanted to let you know I'm gay. Can I bring a guy in to stay with us?
No.
Wow.
It's just the world we live in.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It's a new world. It's devastating. It's just devastating. Lord have mercy. Oh, Lordy. Anything else you want to add? I didn't mean to get you up so late up here.
No. But it was a nice topic that you brought into the broadcast.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, if you have any other suggestions, just hit me up and let me know. Anything that's on your mind that you want to talk about and address, anything going on in the community that you think we should address, I'm here all week, whenever. You got some free time, anything on your mind, anything you want to discuss, anything about friendships and whatever topic you can come up with, sweetheart.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Thank you for joining me. Okay. Thank you, Samantha.
You're welcome.
Okay. Bye-bye. Good night, baby. All right, everybody. That's Samantha giving us her commentary. She was on my earlier live. Kind of quiet down there in the chat. I'm already over an hour into this live, but I played you commentary from a documentary called Poly, P-O-L-Y. And this is a documentary pertaining to different participants that live together with other women and men living in their household or open relationships. And feel free to check out this content on the Roku channel. It's in the documentary section if you're interested. And I have a clip of that TV series posted to my community board. I also have some new movies of the week. I don't think I brought you all a movie of the week last week, so I brought you two programs to view this week for your own entertainment. The Expecting is a TV series I just found tonight, and I'm on the first episode. It's very eerie, kind of creepy. Very, very, very interesting. And also Smile is a new movie coming out that will be released in theaters September 30th. I gave you all a head start in case maybe you can find it on another app to watch before its release date. I wanted to kind of wait to bring it to you around the 30th. But anyway, if you're interested, Smile, it is a horror movie. And The Expecting, it's about the TV series now airing on the Roku channel. It's about a young woman who finds herself mysteriously pregnant from an outing out in the woods. She was hanging with her friends and somehow she became pregnant. So we're going to see how that goes and how that fares. Anybody have any conversations they want to bring up here to the upstairs room with the queen pertaining to the poly lifestyle? What do you think of it? Do you condone this lifestyle? Have you engaged in open relationships and or relationships in a home with more than two participants? Please hit the link. Thank you for joining me. Only a handful viewing, but that's fine. Feel free to go back to the beginning of this live to hear the audio pertaining to the different people that are involved in open relationships and how it has affected their daily lives. Some people can indulge in this type of lifestyle. As I said, I don't condone it. It is your choice if you want to live in a house with more men and women. All of you engage in sexual activity. Some of you engage in sexual activity with the other participants. That's your business. But I do believe when you have children, you have to just walk a fine line when you have kids. The very reason that many children have the problems and the demeanor is because of their upbringing, the people that reared them, the conversations they heard and saw, the way people behave with one another, the things they saw, the interaction between their parents and their guardians and whomever raised them. And a lot of you really just refuse to accept that your behavior, your demeanor, your tongue, your spirit will affect the idealism of your children. I don't know how you think it wouldn't. Two women raising a boy child, girl child, you don't think that would affect your child to possibly one day start liking girls? How would it not? I mean, we're talking about a child. That's why a lot of children end up, as I said, messing with other children and becoming sadists because somebody touched them, fondled them, and now they are attracted to the same sex. And I think a lot of people don't want to own that their influence affected the child's mindset. Of course, it's going to affect your mindset. You may not even think about it growing up. But then you could possibly raise a child in a household with the same sex and the children don't desire the same sex. I don't know the statistics. But I just feel like your behavior in general will affect the outcome of how your children act and behave, how they talk, how they speak, how they interact with other people, how they interact with you as their parent, how they interact with their friends, their family, their schoolmates, their teachers, all that matters. And really, what are you teaching your children to have different sexual partners in your house? I want you all to think about that for a second. You know, it's one thing when you're out here sleeping with different people and you have children and your children don't know who you're sleeping with. Perhaps you go meet that person at their home or hotel. Now imagine you're bringing those people in the house and they're coming and going, but they don't live there. What do you tell your children? Now, two, factor in you're setting up camp with these outside participants in the house with other mates, such as this poly-type lifestyle. How do you explain that to a child? Because I was thinking about that with this Black female. You have two women that you're living with, Those two women don't engage in sexual relations with one another, but they divide their time up with you. And you also have a boy child. What message are you sending to your boy child about trust, loyalty, relationships, honesty? Because some will say, well, we're an open book. We're honest with each other. Okay, I got kids. I'm honest with them to let them know, hey, mommy likes men, mommy likes women, or mommy likes women only. But yeah, she's got two women living here. How's this going to work? What do you tell your child? Why you have two women in your house? You're a woman. Mommy, why do you like a woman? Mommy, why do you like two women? Hey, mommy, do those two women sleep together? I want you all to think about that. Because how do you explain that type of behavior to a child? And maybe to some of you or this lady here, she doesn't think it's a big deal. Oh, he's a boy. He'll be tough. He can understand. You know, what if that is her mindset? Because a lot of us have that he, she, I mentality. They'll be I. It'll grow on them. That's the reason why a lot of children are jacked up now, because of that type of mentality. It'll grow on them. Different men coming in out of a household. Oh, it'll grow on them. It'll grow on her. She'll get used to it. Changing different husbands, wives. They'll be all right. Will they be all right? Hell, will you be all right? And as Samantha said in this commentary, why not choose a box? Okay, you like women, you're attracted to women. But then you're also attracted to men. So which one do you favor more? It has been said that the deviant behavior weighs heavier. Do you all believe that? Let's say a woman, most of her life has slept with men, been attracted to men. Then one day she experiments with a woman, or actually was attracted to women but never acted on it. So one day she acts on it. Do you believe that deviant behavior, which has been defined by many, some may disagree, that alternative behavior rather would weigh heavier than her liking the man and being with the man? Because that's been said with bisexual men, that the deviant side will always hold court. That he will always fantasize, want to be with the man, even if he engages in a relationship, sex, whatever, with a woman. He will always want to be with a man because he's had a taste of a man. Very interesting. Because we see women teeter-tottering back and forth, man today, woman tomorrow, back and forth, back and forth. But what about a man? And of course, each person is different. You don't want to judge everyone the same. But there are a lot of men who are actually bisexual or possibly full-blown gay and have not owned it, and they're on the down low or sneak around with men, but don't want people to know that the man is really his preference. He just don't want to be known as a homosexual. Don't want to be known as a bisexual either. How about that? Because that's the one thing I did not see in this documentary in the first 5 episodes. A man living in a home with a woman and then choosing to bring a man in for his sexual gratification. Very interesting. And I don't think I, as a woman, could be with you whether you brought in a woman or a man. Desire to bring in either party. I don't want to be with you if you want a woman to come into the house to live, play, sex. And I don't want to be with you if you desire a man. I definitely don't want to be with you if you desire a man, because now you're telling me that you're gay. I'm not going to even put a stamp on, oh, he's bi. Nah. Most of us in the street we don't jive on that. As soon as we know that you like men and you're a man, you're gay to us. Most of us. That's how we look at it. I'm going to say that. Because as I said, the deviant side tends to weigh heavier. It will be the one that holds court. And the man will want to be with the man at some point. He ain't going to keep sleeping around with no gals. Maybe for a little while. But as I said, once the man gets a taste of a man, he's enjoyed being with the man. I just doubt that the majority who engage in this behavior will stay with a woman. That's my personal opinion. It's my personal opinion. Well, I'm not going to hold you all, but that was my said commentary pertaining to the poly life. Do you agree with the poly life? Do you believe this will be the new norm for the millennials? And also maybe a couple of other people, middle-aged people. I mean, a lot of people do experiments in different lifestyles. As I said, you have people in open relationships where the other party is known to go out and pick up strangers and sleep with strangers, and also openly walk around with other people in their relationships, and the wife, girlfriend, husband, whoever allows it. They have not left them. They lie in the cut and accept it. I'm sure it's very hurtful. And you have to have thick skin to accept your mate participating in sexual activities and going out in public, doing public things with another person while you're at home. And God forbid you have children, you're taking care of children, and your husband is out here philandering with a woman or women publicly. And I've seen this so many times in my community, the Black community, and I know it goes on in other races too, Hispanics, white people. People do what they want to do. And I've learned that they don't do no more than what you allow them to do. Once you get wind of what somebody's doing, you don't condone the behavior. You've called them out on it. If they continue to do it, it is on you to stay for the ride, whether you love them or not. Because one thing I've learned, you can't make a person understand where you're coming from. You can't make a person love you. You can't make a person choose you. And most of us want to be chosen. That's the main goal of growing up, to mate, meet and greet, bear children, is to be chosen. So who wants to be walking around yearning to be chosen, gets chosen, but then your better half is slumbering with other people, seeking out others to engage in some type of sex and or attention? It's very disturbing. And a lot of people tolerate this behavior from their partners. They don't want to leave. They've gotten used to being around them, with them, maybe have children. Many people stay with people in jacked up relationships because they have children, which I think is the poorest excuse to ever use your child as a reason to stay with somebody. Oh, that's his daddy, her daddy. We've been together 6 years, 10 years. That has nothing to do with your emotions and the fact that you feel violated or disrespected. Children can be molded into many of the things. They're resilient. So why suffer and say you did it because they're the parent? They want to break up the relationship, but the relationship is already broken. You just don't want to own the fact that you're attached to somebody that's detached from you, because it's, as I said, it's a hurtful thing for somebody to betray you. But that was the topic for this evening's live, the poly lifestyle. Is it the new norm? Please drop your comments below. Feel free to post to my community page of the said videos that I've posted involving poly lifestyles. Do you agree, disagree? Do you feel it will affect children in the long run? Is it healthy for children to grow up in poly relationships, households? Could it affect the child's behavior towards women, men, stability, monogamy? That's another thing. Are you teaching your child to be monogamous? Hello, Esley. How are you? Hit the link, honey. Hi, Skyla. Hi. Why don't you gals come up here before I check out of here? Hit the link. The link is right above you. If you want to give your opinion before I check out of here pertaining to the poly lifestyle, please hit the link before I leave. Thank you all so much for joining me. And Skyla, I have yet to meet you personally, so you might want to come on up here and talk to the queen for a brief moment. I'll give you all time to hit the link if you'd like to join me. Thank you all so much for your time. Slow motion tonight, slow motion, but that's okay. If I get 1 or 2 viewers, that's good. You got background noise. Well, can you step out somewhere quietly to speak, dear? What kind of background noise you got going on at this time of night? It's almost 11 o'clock. Look at me like somebody mama. Well, what you got going on at 10:47, or you somewhere else? Central time. Lord, how many people gonna keep sending stuff today? What is going on? I must be popular on another platform. Esley says she couldn't do it. Skylar says she disagrees. Lord have mercy. I hear you. Well, we've had Samantha come up here. She doesn't condone the behavior. Anybody out there in La La Land want to hit the link to give their opinion pertaining to this lifestyle? Please feel free. Trust me, I don't bite. Nobody's want to join me. I don't know what I'm looking at. What you say, Skylar? Kiddos. Oh, well. Okay. Giving you all a chance to come up here and talk. Guess nobody wants to share with the queen. All righty then. I'm in a different time zone, by the way. I believe it can affect children, the poly thing. Okay. Well, Scott, I was hoping you would come up and give me your commentary. You or S. Lee. I'll give your commentary since nobody's decided to join us. It's been a slow night. But I did play some very stimulating conversations from the documentary pertaining to people who do currently live this lifestyle. One of the stats said that 43% of millennials indulge in this behavior. As I said, to each his own. It is not a behavior I condone. It's not a lifestyle that I would live. I have no reason to want to live in a house with extra participants, period. I don't care who they are. I don't want to be with a man that wants to invite a woman or a man or extra women. No, thank you. And if indeed we're together and he decides he wants to be in the street and pick up strange women, new women, old women, he can gladly do that on his own time. I will gladly remove myself from the equation. I don't have a problem with it. That's not, I'm not going down like that. Life is short. I'm already older, 51, so I don't see it working in my favor to be with a man that wants to bring a woman into the relationship, period, at any point. In the house or outside, doesn't matter. I will not engage. He best find somebody else. But there are women who will go along with the program. That's why I was saying that to Samantha, that you have men who are already living open lifestyles, even without an extra woman living in the household with he and his woman. Many men are walking around with other relationships. They're sleeping and slumbering with other women, playing house. Some are schemers, scammers, married to other women. It's got a lot of stuff going on out here in the streets. And it's sad when people find out that they've been living with a liar. That's a whole nother subject matter. God forbid we get on that topic. The men who are pretending to marry for love, but indeed they're just marrying to get in a woman's pocketbook. Well, I'm going to check out of here. I want to thank you all, the few that have joined me and listened to the commentary. Please have a safe week. Once again, if you'd like to donate to this channel, $Beganji, want you on Cash App. All stickers and chats are welcome. During my live, I will be back with more stimulating topics and commentary this week. I will have to find me something to talk about. There's so much going on. I mean, the assortment is in abundance. As most of you know that watch the news and look into the YouTube queue, there's always some shenanigans going on out here. But prayers for our children, and pray they have a safe week this week. Please go to my community board for breaking news, commentary, polls, movies of the week, TV shows for the week. Smile is a movie suggestion for the week, coming out September 30th. The Expecting is a TV series now playing on Roku. I'm currently engaged in that. I will be engaging in that when I get off this live. It seems very eerie, so I'm going to check it out, finish that. There's some other new movies coming out this week. So if you are interested in going to the picture show, there are some new movies coming out. As most of you know, the last Halloween will be coming out. I don't have a due date for that. Hold on one second. There's something I wanted to bring to you guys. Would you say, I know you're tired of talking about crime stuff. Yeah, I can't. It gets old. Talking about people being murdered. Gets very old. 1 second. Well, I was trying to find my list I had for movies. I did thought I had written them down. Oh, mercy. Let's see. Guess not. Oh, it's sitting right in front of me. Lord have mercy. Pray for me, you all. I'm getting old. Smile is a horror movie released in theaters September 30th. If you are into African-American movies. Hunk for Jesus, Save Your Soul. That's already been released September 2nd. Don't Worry, Darling has been airing for about a month now in ads. It comes out Friday, September 23rd. And then there's The Halloween Ends. I've got to get a date for that. Thank you all so much for joining me. Let me see. I'm going to just type it in and make it easier. October 14th, for those who like horror movies. So we'll mention that periodically in the next upcoming weeks for those who like horror movies. This should be the last installment of the Halloween franchise for those of you who like horror movies. Jamie Lee Curtis, this should be her last round with Michael Myers. I don't know how far this can go. This just goes on and on. Let's see. I'm gonna give you a brief synopsis of this Halloween movie. 4 years after her last encounter with mass killer Michael Myers, Laurie Strode is living with her granddaughter and trying to finish her memoir. Myers hasn't been seen since, and Laurie finally decides to liberate herself from rage and fear and embrace life. However, when a young man stands accused of murdering a boy that he was babysitting, it ignites a cascade of violence and terror that forces Laurie to confront the evil she can't control. Now, in this cue, it tells you how it ends. I don't want to look because I don't want to know. I want to wait to see it. I don't want to know how it ends. Very interesting. Here's something from Bloody Disgusting. This is pertaining to the original Halloween. Thank you all so much for joining me. The original Halloween returning to theaters along with Halloween 4 and Halloween 5. Interesting. And in the caption, it shows the babysitter who's on the phone gabbing in the original Halloween, and Michael Myers is standing in the background with the doors open. I do believe I passed a movie on one of these apps earlier. This is very interesting information. It says that Spotlight Cinema Networks will release John Carpenter's 1978 classic film, Halloween, and its sequels, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, 1988, and Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, 1989, for the second year in a row. So for you horror fans that don't want to watch it for free, because most of these apps, you can find these on them for free. This company is releasing them. I don't think I like any of those, 4 and 5, because most of those I don't even think they had anything to do with the original Michael Myers. For those of you that follow the content, it's been a while since I watched 4 and 5. I think 1 and 2 were more pertaining to Michael Myers, the original Michael Myers. And it's in the high up numbers where he comes back and finds Laurie at that boarding school. That one was released a while ago. 14 viewing. Lord, it's a slow roll for the Queen. But that's the latest information. October 14th, horror fans, the last Halloween will be released. Jamie Lee Curtis will revamp her role as Laurie Strode in this last Halloween. Halloween ends. And it says here, Halloween Ends director reveals one mystery the finale won't solve. Oh, Lord, I don't want to know. I just hope it ends. Because he should be already dead. He should have been dead in Halloween 2, where he walked out, burned up from the hospital, and was in flames. I don't know how he could be alive. But that's a whole nother story. God help us. But once again, for all my Halloween horror fans, the final Halloween will be airing in theaters October 14th. Smile will be released September 30th at a theater near you. Currently showing right now, Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul. It's already been released September 2nd. And Don't Worry, Darling will be released this Friday, September 23rd. That seems like a movie kind of mirroring the Stepford Wives from the ads I've seen airing. Yes, I love horror movies. I grew up on them. Most of you who know a little bit of my background growing up in Chicago, my parents used to take me to see horror movies on the weekends. So that's how I became a horror fan. That is me. Please go to my community board for my suggestions of The Expecting. I'm currently watching that as I speak. And Smile is one of the suggestions for my horror fans, a movie to check out. And I probably will put up a poll here in a minute pertaining to this poly lifestyle. And I'm going to check out of here, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. God bless all of you. Stay safe. Have a prosperous week. If you see something, say something. Be a part of the solution, not the problem. Mind the children. Thank you, Skylar. Thank you, Esley. Thank you all that joined me in the chat. I'll talk to you guys a little bit later. Thank you so much. This is Everyday Shenanigans.